for BSE. So let's cut across to Varinder Bansal. He's in conversation with Ashish Chauhan, the CEO and MD of Bombay Stock Exchange. Varinder?
Welcome all our viewers from the famous Dalal Street, and with me I have the man of the moment, Mr. Ashish Chauhan, the longest serving MD and CEO, if I can recall, in the last 20 years of BSE. How do you feel, Ashish, standing on the other side of the ring? I believe that in the last 5-7 years, you must have helped listing of around 1,000 companies. Now you're on the other side, and now we can ask you questions.
No, it's fine. One has to go through the process, and one must. Basically, everyone is equal in front of the law, and even BSE, which is on the other side, usually also should stand in the front and be answerable.
The thing is, if someone remembers stock market, it's BSE. The birth of stock market, people say it happened, when BSE came into existence. Is it a nostalgic moment for you now, since BSE is, going into, having its IPO?
Yeah, it is. For almost all of us who have been associated with stock markets for more than 20 years, all of us would remember so many incidents, so many things, including the famous Rajabai Tower near Oval Maidan, which is basically in Mumbai University. And you will, basically it was actually donated by a stockbroker in 1866.
Lovely.
So it's even before the BSE was officially set up. And so Premchand Roychand, who set up BSE, one of the founders of BSE, donated a very large clock tower to Bombay University in 1866, 9 years before BSE was set up. And that's practically now more than 150 years old. So that's what basically, in a sense, Mumbai, Bombay,
exactly.
The stock exchange had a very, very big role to play.
I think that is the reason why we have, BSE in Bombay and not in, say, Calcutta, Delhi or other metro city, right?
And basically, although Calcutta used to be the capital of British India, somehow the stock markets developed here, which is very strange. When I look back, it happened out of the cotton trading, and it had some genesis in the US Civil War. And when it kind of started, cotton started moving from here to Manchester, and that's how a lot of speculation started, and then flowed into creation of new companies, markets.
Capitalism,
and if some portion of, say, Back Bay Reclamation you heard of in Mumbai?
Yes.
Even there was a company called Back Bay Reclamation Company in BSE listed, and it raised funds to create Back Bay Reclamation. So many of the Indian large initiatives actually were funded from this place.
Oh, lovely. That's a wonderful history, Ashish. But we have to talk about IPO, and the one question which is going in everyone's mind is, and I have to ask you straight up, how can BSE grow its market share in the cash and F&O segment? Because that's a critical segment for, an exchange earnings. It hasn't happened in the past, in the last 5-10 years. But how much are you confident? Can that change going ahead or not?
See, for me, many times all of us think that Olympics has only one race, which is 100 meters. And we keep on harping on that, and we forget that there is badminton, there is wrestling, there is boxing, there is swimming. And so stock markets' purpose is not only for trading. Stock markets' main purpose is price signaling. Assets which are listed on in a stock market, actually the prices that happen, they give you price signal. Second is raising of funds, which is actually the most important activity for any exchange, especially for the country. Although the profitability may be due to trading volumes, but if you raise funds, you are very relevant. Okay. Today, BSE has 5,500, close to 5,500 stocks.
Yes.
And that shows you that largest amount of funds raised, even over last few years, have been by BSE only. Right. Although we may not trade as much, we raise more funds, we provide more investment activities. So if you say mutual fund distribution, we are the largest mutual fund distribution platform. If you see bond distribution, last 7 months we have raised 1,35,000 crore of bonds, or corporate bonds. IPOs, we raise more IPOs. And so for me, it's important to understand that, and the revenue frameworks of each business, each exchange may be different. So you may be impressed by some exchanges said trading volumes, and that's why they get trading revenues, but then they are more volatile also.
No, so am I right to understand that going ahead, BSE will not try to concentrate more on the cash and F&O, but will concentrate more on other segments of revenues, which is a commodity, currency exchange, or the gift, what you are planning?
So BSE will concentrate equally on all segments, and wherever it gets market share, but its focus has always been to get funds for India. It didn't focus too much on speculative activities. It was more on investments, but it should also try to get something on speculative. So what has happened is over last 3 years, 2013 and BSE was 0% in currencies.
Yes.
Today it's around 39%. And so similarly, interest rate
aren't those
derivatives.
segments small when I compare to the the transactions in terms of cash and F&O segment?
Why not? But they are growing.
They are
So if
growing.
you were, say, standing in year 2000 and you were talking to me like this, would you have ever thought that derivatives will be so much larger? The newer segments, they grow up slowly. It's like a child, you know. While a grown-up person won't grow so much. So when you look when you look at now, it is actually the past. When you look future, then you can realize how many things actually are
So
possible.
which are the segments where you stand hugely bullish on? Whether that international exchange in the gift city, that one, the commodities, the currencies, the debt market instruments, the mutual funds. Where do you see the maximum revenue generation will happen for BSE going ahead?
For us, basically, we worry more about how do we become relevant to the society? How do we remain relevant to the society? And there, investments is a large sort of framework. That's where we are more bullish on, say, IPOs. We are more bullish on, say, bond distribution, mutual fund distribution, not only for our sake. Of course, we have to also generate adequate profits, but largely because it helps, and basically it helps society.
Okay, that's the word from Asia's oldest exchange, which will be opening up or launching its IPO on the 23rd of January.